From the very beginning, Amara could not stand the way people looked at her sister. It wasn't that their parents treated them differently, no. Their father and mother loved them the same. They were both well-fed, well-dressed, and raised in comfort. In the village, their family was respected, but whenever they walked together, it was always Zima people noticed first. Ah, look at this beautiful child. Zima, you are growing into a fine young lady. Your parents are blessed to have you. The words would float in the air like perfume, sweet to everyone else but bitter in Amara's chest. She was the first daughter. She should be the one receiving those praises, she told herself. But somehow, eyes always skipped past her to land on Zema. Zima, the second daughter, was everything the village loved in a girl beautiful, humble, and respectful. Even as a child, she greeted everyone warmly. She would stop whatever she was doing to help an elder carry a basket or pick up something that had fallen. Amara, on the other hand, carried herself like she was above everyone. If a child passed her without greeting first, she would bark at them, sometimes even beat them. If an elder tried to correct her, "Amara, don't you know how to greet your elders?" she would fix them with a cold stare. "Oh, you want me to greet you so you can use your stinking poverty to stain my life?" Gasps, silence. Then she would walk away as if she had done nothing wrong. Every time this happened, Zima would still greet the elder with a smile, as if trying to mend the damage. And that made Amara even angrier. Her parents sat her down many times. "Amara, respect is for your own good," her father would say. Her mother would add, "You and your sister are both precious to us. Don't let pride close the doors in your life." But Amara never listened. In her mind, all of this was happening because Zima was the favorite. She began to watch closely, counting how many times people praised Zima in a day, and with each count, the bitterness in her heart grew. When they reached secondary school age, the pattern didn't change. Zima's beauty and manners made her popular among teachers and classmates. She was the type of student given responsibilities leading morning assembly, representing the school in competitions. Amara was known for her sharp tongue and her temper. Teachers rarely asked her to represent the school because they didn't trust her to behave. At home, everything was equal, same clothes, same food, same opportunities. But in Amara's eyes, none of that mattered. Zima is the one everyone sees, she thought. I'm just there. The years passed until they both finished secondary school and gained admission into the University of Lagos. Their parents were so proud that day. Their father gave them each an envelope of pocket money. Their mother prayed over them at the bus park, reminding them to make the family proud. Zima nodded seriously. Amara smiled faintly, already thinking about the city life ahead. University life only widened the gap between them. Zima followed a strict routine lectures, church fellowship, reading in her room. She rarely missed class, and her lecturers knew her by name for her seriousness. Amara fell into the company of a rich, reckless friend who introduced her to Lagos nightlife. Clubs, parties, expensive drinks, designer clothes, these became Amara's new routine. Sometimes she would come home at dawn, too tired to attend lectures. But she would have a new wig, a luxury handbag, or shoes that cost more than some people's rent. One evening, Zima decided to talk to her. "Sis, the lifestyle you're living is not good. You've missed lectures for weeks now. Your course rep even came here to ask if you traveled. I had to cover for you. Please, focus on your studies." Amara's eyes narrowed. "How dare you talk to me like that? Am I your mate? Because we are in the same school and live in the same room, you think you can lecture me? Are you my mother? Are you my father? Next time you talk to me like that, I will make sure I disfigure your life." Zima stayed quiet. But that night, she called their parents to share her concern. When their parents called to advise Amara, the result was the same. She stormed into the room afterwards, pointing at Zima. "So now you are reporting me? You think you're smarter than me? Now you're the good daughter and I'm the bad one, isn't it?" Zima shook her head. "I only want what is good for you. Don't want what is good for me. Want what is good for yourself, and never interfere in my life again." By the end of their university years, Zema graduated with first-class honors. Amara had failed so many courses that she dropped out rather than face the shame. Their father called her home. Since school is not your thing, learn a trade. Even graduates are surviving on skills these days. Amara resisted. You want me to leave the city and go back to that village thing? It was Zima who convinced her. Sis, it's better than staying idle. In the village, their parents enrolled her in a respected fashion designer's shop. But instead of learning, Amara skipped classes, insulted her instructor, and eventually slapped the woman during an argument. The woman refunded their parents' money and refused to teach her again. Amara boasted. I've learnt enough. I'll open my own shop in the city. I can learn the rest online. Back in the city, she opened her shop, but her work was sloppy, her prices outrageous, and most of her customers left unhappy. Then one day, the wife of a wealthy Alhaji walked in with expensive fabric for her daughter's naming ceremony. The event was in 5 days. She told Amara that she will need the dress in 4 days if possible. Amara looked at her and how wealthy she looks, and decided to charge her higher. Ma, she whispered. This is express work. If you want it done as 4 days, then you would have to pay double price for it. If you can finish it in 3 days, I will pay you 10 million, the woman said, handing her 5 million up front. That night, Amara gathered her friends and went clubbing, spending the money on luxury items, forgetting that she had work to do. When the clothes were finally delivered, they were poorly made. The woman demanded a refund. Amara refused. 3 days later, police officers walked into her shop. The moment the police stepped into Amara's shop, she froze. 2 uniformed officers, one tall and broad-shouldered, the other short and sharp-eyed, stood at the door. Madam Amara? The tall one asked. She tried to smile. Yes, officer. How can I help you? You are under arrest. Her heart skipped. For what? What did I do? The short one pulled out a folded paper. We have a complaint from Mrs. Adeyemi regarding a payment of 10 million naira for clothes that were not delivered as promised. Amara's voice rose. That's a lie. I gave her the clothes. The tall officer stepped forward. You can explain at the station. Please, follow us. As they let her out, the street seemed to shrink. Neighbors peered from their shop fronts. Some whispered. A few smirked. At the roadside, Amara scanned the faces around, searching for someone, anyone, to defend her. She reached for her phone and called her closest party friend. Bisi, I'm in trouble. Please, come to the station. Bisi's voice was cool. I'm sorry, babe. I'm not in Lagos right now. Another friend picked up and claimed to be too busy. One after another, the people she had laughed and danced with gave excuses. By the time she reached the station, she was sweating. She sat on a wooden bench, head bent, staring at her phone screen. Finally, she scrolled to Zima's number. Her thumb hovered. Calling Zima meant swallowing her pride, but there was no one else left. She pressed call. Zima answered on the second ring. Sis, please. Amara's voice trembled. I'm in trouble. Can you come and help me? I'm at the police station. Zima didn't hesitate. Which station? Within an hour, Zima walked into the station, her heels clicking softly against the floor. She was dressed neatly in a cream blouse and navy trousers, her hair pulled back. When Amara saw her, she tried to smile, but shame pulled her eyes to the floor. Zima turned to the complainant, the wealthy Alhaji's wife. Good afternoon, Ma. Please, let's talk about this. The woman's voice was firm. Your sister collected 10 million naira from me for clothes she did not make well. I cannot wear them. I want my money back. Zima nodded slowly. Ma, I understand. What she did is wrong. I am sorry. Please, I will pay you 5 million naira now, and in 5 days I will transfer the other 5. Please, don't take her to court. I beg you. The woman studied Zema's face. There was no arrogance there, only humility. She glanced at Amara, then back at Zima. Because of you, she said, I will accept, but make sure the balance is paid. Zima completed the paperwork for Amara's release. As they stepped out of the station, the evening sun was low, casting long shadows on the dusty road. In the car, silence stretched between them until Amara spoke. Sis, thank you. Zima glanced at her. Just try to change, Amara. This life you're living will destroy you. Amara didn't reply. Back at Zima's apartment, the reality of Amara's situation became clear. She could not return to her own house. Her landlord had locked it over unpaid rent. Her shop was also sealed by the authorities because of multiple customer complaints. She had nowhere else to go. Zima's voice was calm. "Stay here for now. Get yourself together. We'll figure something out." Amara forced a small smile. "I promise, sis. I will change." For a few days, things were peaceful. Zima went to work as usual, and Amara stayed home. But slowly, old habits crept back. One evening, Zima returned from work to find music blasting from her living room. Amara was there with 3 friends, laughing loudly, drinking, and smoking. Zima waited until they left. "Amara, the kind of lifestyle you're living, it's not good. You've just gone through a lot. I want you to be a changed person." Amara's eyes hardened. "Because I'm living under your roof, you think you can talk to me anyhow? You think you're better than me? If you want me to leave, just say so." Zima shook her head. "I don't want you to leave. I just want what is good for you." Amara's lips curled. "Don't want what is good for me. Want what is good for yourself. And don't talk to me like that again." Days later, Zima entered Amara's room one morning. "Sis, I'm sorry about how I spoke the other day. I didn't mean to offend you. Any business you want to start, tell me. I'll give you the money." Amara's eyes lit up. "Now you're talking. There's this business online I want to invest in, but it will cost about 30 million naira. Zima frowned. 30 million is a lot for now. What if you start with 10? Amara pretended to think. "Okay, 10 million. I can manage." Zima gave her a check that same day. Amara deposited it and didn't invest a kobo. Instead, she returned to clubbing, renting flashy cars and shopping. Weeks later, the money was gone. Amara returned home one night with red eyes and a trembling voice. "Sis, the investment was fake. They scammed me." Zima stared at her. "I warned you. I've tried my best. I can't do more than this." Amara's tone sharpened. "So what are you saying? That I should go and suffer because of 10 million? 10 million is nothing. I can make that in a day." Zima's voice was steady. "If you can make it in a day, then go and make it. The money I gave you, I borrowed from work. I haven't paid yet to where I took it from, and here you are saying you can make it in a day. God knows I have tried my best. I can't kill myself if you aren't ready to change your ways, sister." Amara narrowed her eyes and whispered whatever. Amara didn't leave, but something inside her hardened further. A week later, Zima came home smiling. She dropped her handbag on the table, her face glowing. Amara was filing her nails. "Why are you smiling like that? Did you win a lottery?" Zima laughed softly. "No, sis. I met someone today. He's so handsome, respectful, different from anyone I've met before. His name is Daniel." Amara's hand paused mid-file. "I hope he's not one of those poor playboys." "It's not all about money," Zima replied. "This one, I don't know. I feel something." Amara gave a half smile, but inside, her thoughts were different. Another thing for her to be happy about. Another thing for people to praise her for. 3 days after Zema first mentioned him, Daniel came to the apartment. Zima had told Amara that morning, "Sis, Daniel is coming over this evening. I want you to meet him." Amara had nodded casually, but as soon as Zima left for work, she spent the afternoon in front of the mirror. She tried on 3 different dresses before settling on one that clung perfectly to her curves. She styled her hair into soft waves and applied just enough makeup to make her features pop without looking too obvious. By the time Zima's car pulled into the compound that evening, Amara was seated in the living room, legs crossed, scrolling through her phone like she hadn't been waiting all day. Zima entered first, smiling brightly. "Sis, this is the Daniel I told you about." Daniel stepped forward, extending his hand politely. He was tall, with broad shoulders and a quiet confidence in the way he moved. His shirt was neatly pressed, and his watch gleamed under the light. Amara's eyes traveled over him quickly from his polished shoes to the trim of his haircut before she took his hand. She let her fingers linger just a little too long, her eyes locking on his with a slow, deliberate smile. "Nice to meet you, Daniel. I'm Amara, Zima's elder sister." "Nice to meet you too, Ma," Daniel replied warmly. They all sat. Zima served drinks and snacks, and the conversation began. Daniel spoke about his work, his plans for the future, his family. Zima listened with interest, smiling at his words. But Amara's gaze rarely left his face. Every laugh, every polite gesture, she noted it all. This is the kind of man I've dreamed of, she thought. And now he's here, but for her. The evening passed in polite conversation until it was time for Daniel to leave. Zima walked him to his car, chatting and laughing softly. Amara watched from the window, her jaw tightening. When Zema came back inside, Amara was waiting. "That man is rich," she said bluntly. Zima looked surprised. "Why do you say that? The way he dresses, the watch, the car, he's not an ordinary man." Zima shrugged. "Even if he's rich, that's not the reason I like him. He's kind, he's respectful. That's what matters." Amara forced a thin smile. "If you say so." But inside, her thoughts were burning. She doesn't even appreciate what she has. Weeks passed. Daniel visited often, sometimes bringing flowers, sometimes surprising Zema with little gifts. Zima was glowing more than ever, and even their parents in the village noticed the change in her voice when she called home. Then, one Friday evening, Zima came home with something shining on her left hand. Amara was sitting on the sofa, painting her nails. She looked up and froze. "Sis, guess what?" Zima said, her voice bubbling with joy. "Daniel proposed." Amara's heart thudded. "He proposed?" "Yes! We're getting married!" Zima stretched out her hand. The diamond ring caught the light, sparkling. Amara leaned forward, studying it closely. "This ring, it must have cost a fortune." Zima laughed. "I'm still in shock. We'll be going to the village soon for the introductions." Amara smiled faintly, but inside, her heart was boiling. "She's younger than me. I'm the first daughter. I should be the one getting married first, especially to a man like this, not her." The introduction ceremony in the village was a celebration. Their parents were proud, the elders blessed the union, and Daniel's family left a good impression. Amara smiled for the photos, but in the quiet corners of her mind, a storm was forming. Back in the city, the preparations began. Zima would sometimes ask for Amara's opinion. "Sis, what do you think of this fabric for my wedding gown?" Amara would shrug. "Am I the one getting married? Ask your friends." Zima would laugh lightly, thinking it was a joke. But the truth was, every conversation about the wedding fed Amara's resentment. One night, after Zima had gone to bed, Amara sat alone in the living room. She thought about everything, the way people had always praised Zima, the way Zima seemed to succeed without trying, the way Daniel looked at her with love. By the time she went to bed, the thought had taken root. If I can't have him as myself, I will have him another way. The opportunity came sooner than she expected. One Saturday morning, Zima was in her room, speaking to Daniel on the phone about the wedding plans. Amara passed by the door and paused, listening. After the call, Zima went into the bathroom to shower, leaving her phone on the bed. Amara stepped inside quietly, picked up the phone, and quickly copied Daniel's number. She slipped back to her room and inserted a new SIM card into her own phone. She dialed his number. "Hello?" Daniel's voice was warm. "Good afternoon," Amara said, disguising her tone slightly. "My name is Vivian. I'm a friend of Zima's." There was a pause. "Vivian, I don't think we've met." "No, you haven't. She wouldn't let us meet. She's afraid I'll tell you her secret." Daniel's voice shifted. "What secret?" Amara lowered her voice. "She's only marrying you for your money. She has done this to 2 men before, collected what she wanted and left. She also has a child in the village. Did she tell you that?" "What?" Daniel's voice was sharp now. "A child? I'm telling you because I don't want to see you hurt. But please, don't tell her I called." Before he could ask more, Amara ended the call. Later that evening, Zima mentioned that Daniel had asked her if she knew anyone named Vivian. "I told him no," Zima said, puzzled. "He said someone called him with strange stories about me. He thinks it might be a jealous friend." Amara's heart sank, not because she was caught, but because the plan hadn't worked. Abuka still trusted Zima. That night, she lay in bed staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. She realized she would have to do something far more drastic. 2 days later, Amara left the house early in the morning, telling Zima she was going to see an old friend. Instead, she boarded a bus heading toward the outskirts of the city. The road grew narrower, lined with thick bushes. She finally stopped in a small settlement where she had been told a powerful herbalist lived. The woman was waiting at the doorway of her hut, as if she had been expecting her. "My daughter," the woman said, her voice low and deep, "I know why you are here. Your sister has taken what belongs to you. It is your destiny she is using to shine." Amara's eyes widened. "I knew it! I knew it all along!" The woman beckoned her inside. "If you truly want to take back what is yours, it can be done. But the price is dangerous." Inside the woman's hut, the air was thick with the smell of burning herbs. Strange bottles lined the shelves, each filled with powders, roots, or dark liquids. A small clay pot in the corner released thin smoke that curled toward the ceiling. The woman sat cross-legged on a mat, her eyes half closed, as if listening to something only she could hear. Amara remained standing for a moment, unsure if she should speak. Finally, the woman opened her eyes and motioned for her to sit. "You have carried this jealousy for a long time," she said in a low voice. "From the day your sister was born, she has been standing in your light. The people see her and forget you. Even the man that should have been yours is now calling her his bride." Amara's breath quickened. "Yes, that's it. That is exactly what has been happening to me. She takes everything that should be mine. I am the first daughter. I am supposed to be the one getting married first, not her." The woman leaned closer. "It is not too late. You can take her place. But you must understand, once we begin, there is no turning back. And the consequences, if the rules are broken, are deadly." Amara didn't hesitate. "I don't care about the consequences. I just want what's mine." The woman reached for a small wooden box beside her and opened it. Inside was a mound of pale, shimmering powder. She held it up carefully. "This," she said, "is face-changing powder. On the day of her wedding, when she is in her room getting dressed, you will ask to speak to her alone. Tell everyone else to step outside. Then you will blow this powder onto her face. The moment it touches her skin, her face will change into yours, and yours will become hers. She will shrink, small as an ant. She will still be herself, but tiny. You will take her and put her into this bottle." She handed Amara a small glass bottle with a cork stopper. It looked harmless, almost ordinary, but it felt heavy in her hand, heavier than its size should allow. "What do I do with the bottle?" Amara asked. "Hide it well. If you want her gone forever, throw it into a river so the water carries her away. But be warned, if anyone ever opens this bottle, or if it breaks, you will run mad instantly. Your mind will never return." Amara turned the bottle in her hands. "I will keep it safe. I just want to walk down that aisle instead of her." The woman's voice dropped to a whisper. "Then go. Prepare yourself. Do not tell anyone. And remember, if you fail to follow the instructions exactly, your life will never be the same again." Amara tucked the bottle carefully into her handbag and left the hut. The sun outside was blinding after the darkness inside, but she barely noticed. Her mind was racing. On the bus ride back to the city, she pictured the wedding day herself in the white gown, the crowd cheering. It felt so real she almost smiled. By the time she reached Zema's apartment that evening, her plan was set. The days before the wedding were busy. Family members began arriving from the village, filling the apartment with chatter and laughter. Zema moved between fittings, meetings with the decorator, and calls with Daniel. Amara kept herself close, watching everything. She studied the schedule, noted exactly what time Zema would be getting her makeup done, and thought about how to clear the room when the moment came. On the day of the wedding, Zema was too excited to sleep. She sat on her bed, looking at her gown hanging on the door. Amara stood at the doorway, pretending to admire it. "You've made us proud, sis," Amara said softly. Zema smiled. "Thank you, and I'm glad you'll be there with me tomorrow." Amara forced a warm smile, but in her heart she was thinking, "Yes, I will be there. More than you think." The wedding morning arrived. By 9 a.m., the makeup artist was in Zema's room, working carefully on her face. The gown was laid out neatly on the bed, and the veil rested on a chair nearby. Relatives came in and out, offering compliments, saying prayers. Amara was dressed too, in a simple but elegant outfit and moving in and out of the room, pretending to check on things. She felt the weight of the bottle in her bag with every step. When the makeup was done, the stylist stepped back. "Perfect," she said, smiling. Zima stood and adjusted her earrings. "Thank you." Amara took a deep breath. "Please, can I have a few minutes alone with my sister?" The makeup artist nodded and began packing her tools. Two aunties who had been sitting on the edge of the bed stood up. "We'll wait outside," one said. As the door closed behind them, Amara's fingers slid into her bag, touching the smooth glass of the bottle. Her heart was pounding now, but her face stayed calm. She stepped closer to Zima. "I just wanted to say, I'm proud of you, sis. May your marriage be blessed." "Thank you, Amara," Zima replied, smiling warmly. Amara's fingers tightened around the bottle. "This is it," she thought. Amara held the bottle like it was part of her hand. She stepped close enough to smell the faint scent of Zema's perfume. "Close your eyes," she said softly. "I want to pray for you before you go." Zima's smile widened. "Of course, sis." She closed her eyes. Amara's thumb eased the cork open. Her heart thudded so loudly she thought Zima might hear it. She lifted the bottle, took a deep breath, and blew. The powder drifted like a soft mist, settling on Zema's face. At first, nothing happened. Then Zima's expression shifted. She touched her cheeks, frowning. "What was that? My face feels—" Her words stopped. Before her own eyes, Zima's body began to shrink, her features pulling and twisting until she was no bigger than an ant. Her tiny voice squeaked, "Amara, what's happening to me?" Amara bent, scooping her up in one smooth motion. She opened the bottle and dropped Zima inside. The cork sealed with a sharp pop. Amara held it up, staring at the tiny figure pounding on the glass from inside. "You think you're the only one who deserves happiness? Not today, Zima. Today the world will see me." She slid the bottle deep under the bed, hidden in the shadows, then straightened her gown and stepped to the mirror. Her reflection took her breath away. The face looking back was Zima's. Every detail was perfect, from the curve of the eyebrows to the exact shade of the eyes. She slipped into the wedding gown, adjusted the veil, and smiled. When she stepped out of the room, the relatives gasped. "Oh, Zima, you look like an angel. Your husband will faint when he sees you." Amara's lips curled into the sweetest smile she could manage. "Thank you." At the church, Daniel stood at the altar, his eyes fixed on her. She walked slowly down the aisle, each step measured, and when she reached him, he whispered, "You look perfect." The ceremony began. The pastor's voice rang out, calling for vows, blessings, prayers. Amara nodded at the right moments, her mind racing ahead to the life that would follow Daniel's home, his wealth, the respect of being called his wife. Back at the apartment, the makeup artist returned briefly to collect her tools. She moved around the room, gathering brushes and palettes. One of her brushes rolled under the bed. She knelt to retrieve it, her hand brushing against something cold and smooth. She pulled it out, a small glass bottle. She turned it over in her palm. "Who would hide a bottle here?" she murmured. It looked empty, the tiny figure inside too small for her to notice, and she tossed it into her open kit bag. The cork loosened. The bottle slipped out, hit the floor, and shattered. In a flash of light, Zima grew back to her normal size, gasping for air. The makeup artist's eyes went wide. What just happened? I thought you were at the altar." Zima's voice shook. "That's not me at the altar. That's my sister. She stole my face." The makeup artist froze for a moment, then grabbed Zima's hand. "Come quickly." They reached the church just as the pastor said, "If there is anyone here who has a reason why these two should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now or forever remain silent." The doors burst open. Zima stepped inside, her eyes locked on Amara. Gasps filled the hall. Guests turned, murmuring. Daniel's eyes widened in confusion. The bride was standing beside him. Yet another bride was walking toward them. Amara's face drained of color. She began shaking her head, stepping back. No, no. Suddenly, she clutched her chest and screamed, "I will confess! I will confess!" Her voice echoed through the church as she fell to her knees. "I've been hating my sister since we were children. Everywhere we went, she got all the praise. She was always the good one, the favorite, the one people loved. and everything she touches always favored her, and I'm always suffering from one thing or the other. When she got ebuka, I couldn't bear it. I went to a herbalist, so I can take her face. I put her in a bottle so I could marry him instead. I'm the first daughter she wasn't supposed to get married before me. That's why I stole her face, please. Zima, forgive me. Gasps turned to shouts. Their mother covered her mouth in horror. Amara, how could you do this to your only sister? She gave everything she had. She let you into her home, and yet you did this horrible thing to her? You are really wicked. I curse the day I gave birth to you, Amara. Zima's eyes filled with tears. You? I took you into my home. I tried to help you. I shared everything I had with you. And this is how you repay me? Amara's body jerked as if in pain. Her eyes rolled. I can't. She let out a scream that tore through the room, then bolted for the door, tearing off the veil as she ran into the street, her mind gone. Daniel turned to Zima, still trying to process what had happened. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Zima wiped her eyes. It's not your fault. The guests, still stunned, watched as Zima disappeared briefly, then returned in her own gown. The ceremony resumed, though the air was thick with whispers. When the pastor finally declared them husband and wife, Daniel held her hands tightly. Zima's mind, however, was elsewhere on her sister somewhere in the city, wandering with a lost mind, the consequences of her own choices wrapped around her like chains. Jealousy is a seed that destroys the one who nurtures it. Amara had loving parents, equal opportunities, and a sister who never stopped helping her, but her refusal to be content and her constant comparison blinded her to the blessings she already had. When we focus on taking what belongs to others instead of building our own path, we lose not only the prize we chased, but also our peace, dignity, and in Amara's case, her mind. True fulfillment comes from gratitude, humility, and working for your own success, not from stealing someone else's light. Thank you so much for watching, my dear friend. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next one. Until we meet again, stay safe and stay blessed.